First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. I will always start my videos saying that as bad as things are, but I have to be thankful. The reason why I'm thankful is because I see what life could have been if things were different. Listen, as a target individual, you're surrounded by these clowns of human beings. Their job is to break you into accepting a false reality. I've understood at this point that what's happening to me, what's happening to so many of us, is obviously governmental entities utilizing human beings as guinea pigs. They utilize, they control, or they ensure that you are surrounded by this control environment of individuals, civilians, nothings, retards of all sorts, childlike individuals, men, women, and children, who want you to get lost in all this alteration of reality. And they want you to go with these ways of rationalizing and think. And it's obvious that they have to dumb themselves down. A few days ago, I left, my apartment. I was going, and as expected, there's perps. It's funny for me. Target individual, you have to be strong, and at this point, I'm not only strong in the sense of never identifying with it, but I need to calm myself down because the anger of knowing the reality of what things are is something. When I say I'm thankful I'm not this trash. Listen, they're not living a tough life. Matter of fact, I know why they even enjoy doing that, because especially for the most childish ones, it's the one thing where they feel like they're successful in something. They feel like, oh, they were gonna win this, as if there's a way to lose. Let me just give you an example. Around me, there's a bunch of childlike individuals. Some clown that there was zero rationality, just like you can't even take them serious. These clowns make up a fantasized reality of what this is about. They tell us, they like to tell me, like, no, it's our money, we're protected, we destroyed you. It's like, no, you didn't destroy anything, you can even destroy yourself. They're just the trash the government utilize. With me, they even tell me we're gonna say that you raped me. Let me give you an example of what this trash look like and how pathetic they are. They don't even understand. Child like retard like this. You don't even, like, this is a blur vision of it, a blur part of it. Childish as it gets. That you will never respect and even look at in a way that you can even, like, you can see this person like you live in La La Land. You don't even live in reality. You've created a fantasized reality. You can see that you're not within reality. You're looking for some kind of, like, they crave for. It's like those kids that they just empowered and they take it as if like they're like a war, and just like out there, like not really in connection with reality. They start living like this. Oh yeah, we're just so much warriors. You see what pathetic low life they are. I honestly didn't know they looked that childish. Actually, in my imagination, they do sound like that. But I was like, I can't be this, right? Yes, pathetic loser of some sort. This trash can be suicidal to more. Living a life where she think in her mind that's her duty, that she's protecting it, when in reality she's involved in what she knows it is about. Try to make me think, oh, this is their money. Can you imagine thinking that this is the reason why everything is going down with me? What kind of retardation do you want me to be on? He's so pathetic. They don't even look mentally stable. They look like these children that can be emotionally true. They tell me they're gonna frame me with these kids, and they think in their minds like, no, because when we do it, we're daring. Look at these clowns. It's like these governmental entities are taking advantage of these retards. But then everybody wants to be enjoying what this program does. The feeling of just the empowerment feeling, I can for sure understand why this clown, this nothing, will feel so special. What does she have in life? They start creating storylines like, no, you're gonna pay this and that. When the truth is, what they're involved in is so disgusting. I put that in their faces every day. They will not escape. This nothing deserves death. Not for me. Now look at this nothingness. I will never dirty my hands on this shit. But she knows what she's involved in, and she's being groomed already to be involved in something that does the cruel things, not only to me, but you're gonna hear, to the women and children. Death is deserving for what they do. They try to disorient you. Like, no, we're making you pay. You're gonna hear the reality. As always, I will not let this shit escape. Death is deserving for clowns like that try to reconstruct reality because they want to live a fantasized reality and they want to still enjoy this program for what it does. For me, I truly see them for the shit that they are. Not their reality. For the reality of what they're part of. This clown tried to can you imagine somebody like that try to gaslight you? Some clown like this. Do you understand the stupidity? It's like, I wonder if they see themselves. I wonder if like they go into the mirror and like, I look like I can influence this. They are so childish. And at first it's like, they can't be that bad. They're like, oh yeah, he does, right? It's like, these perps, right, are interacting with me via V2K. And the childlike way they try to gaslight me. It's like, do you think that this thing works? So for me, I have to be thankful because I could have grown up in this nastiness where I deserve death. For sure, and more than just death. For being involved with myself in this thing that does these things. I would have died. Now, whatever I'm going to go through, I got to be strong and understand I'm just going to die the way I'm going to die because I've been putting the reality of what this fucking low life a part of. I'm going to die because I'm in a program where they even torture children and women. I'm going to be theatrically tortured because this trash wanted to escape, make themselves believe in this falsified reality. This clown that like they wanted to escape in La La Land. This trash are the one tell me what's real or not real. I will never let them live any of that escapism. Thank you for showing yourself, which is not a good idea. I have to be thankful that this is not a life that I thankfully got involved in. I was even in the hallways. They use perception to try to make you accept this false reality. You'll see the video. I'll go out waiting for the elevator. There's this like older woman who looks like a grandmother. She's close in the 70s, late 70s or so. She's there. She's like behind the door, and she's just like looking. You know, they're all super theatrical. They're so theatrical. It's so obvious you want me to look at you, and me seeing you there, I'm supposed to be like, oh gosh, what you guys are doing. It's super theatrical. It's like, do you guys don't see how obvious you guys are creating this thing? You want me to look at you, it's like, oh my gosh, you guys are setting me up something. It's like, of course I know that. They want me to look at them, it's like, oh my gosh, these people are protecting the community. Look at trash. They have this old lady that sold herself to these pedophiles. She thought I was going to look at her and respect her. I have no respect. This trash come in all ages and all gender. It was such a failure of perception. Like, you're just trash. I was listening to the top tier issue of this pedophilia issue in these agencies. I was doing the math. When the End National Defense Network abuse was being ranked, they're so high up that they're not even a 1% of like the top tier sharing of traffic. They're 0.7%. They're so up there with trafficking child porn. It's amazing. And you have these retards here that they contract by these entities supposed to say are not real. So I've seen this older lady. They play with perception. Target visual. Do not. The psyops are meant to make you accept this thing. She look at you. I'm like, you a fucking clown. The old ass shit. All those. no disrespect, I would naturally look at an older woman and show her, think of her in a respectable way. But I know what she was trying to do, because they think that, oh, this man, when he looks at older women, he respects them. He sees, he's influenced by them. So they bring this older lady, supposed to be like a sweet older lady. I'm supposed to look at her and think, oh my gosh, she's involved, and then it's me. That's what they're supposed to make me think. But I'm looking at her, it's like, you're trash. And she's just like behind the door looking over there. I'm like, trash. You'll see the video. I had my body cam, and she said, pedo, as I'm listening to the top tier pedos that they are. She probably even used, and they tell me how they're gonna frame me. This shit. These retards. They're gonna use this shit, and they think they're warriors. These retards, they're gonna use them to say I raped them. They're gonna frame me this way. And this older woman is probably the grandmother of one of these kids. That is gonna they're grooming this child to frame people. And you see her, pedo, poof, trash ass. I would have died in hell. They have age doing these things. Whatever's gonna happen to me, I ask God to give me strength. It's gonna be horrible. You understand? I put the reality in their faces. I'm looking, they're using childlike retard like that to try to break you down. And matter of fact, frame you using children like that. The psychological manipulation, I'm going to go to that point too. This kid, teenage, whatever, she's wearing a whole sweater. They're trying to make me see through her fucking sweater. To make me look at her in a sexual way. This retard of a human being. But I gotta be strong. And I was going out. I went for drinks. As I was going for drinks, there's a bunch of perps that are all looking at me. They're all like, look, target vigil, be strong. They're gonna put a control environment of people who's supposed to look at you. You know how bad it is that I go to the bathroom, listen to reality, you come back and look at this shit, it's like, you guys are nasty. I will never let them live the fantasy. It got to the point where they were playing my brain in whatever version. You know, today what they're doing is like they make me have this reaction, and they want me to think that when I was a kid, this is what I experienced. I never experienced that as a kid, especially the age they try to put in as my age, as the age they think they want me to think I experienced that. It's falsified, but because it's so illogical to say, oh, we're making your brain be a brain that you experienced something when you were a child in 8th grade. What they do is, I go to the elevator, I see a kid who's around 14, 15. He's a big kid. He's kind of on the overweight side, right? So he looks a little bit bigger than his age, but you can still tell he's a kid. He talks like in such an innocent child way, but he's kind of big, right? The reason why they have that kid special there is because they want to make me think that kids at that age are mature and not children. Making him less of a child because he's a big kid. Listen, this is what an average child in 8th grade looks like. Just because they got a kid that is a little bit on the big side, and you know, he's a little bit overweight. This is a 14-year-old in 8th grade. Just see this. This is an 8th grader too. About the same age. Now you clearly see this is a child. They have children about the same age of that, but kind of big. To try to make me think now we see makes sense, because it's in the first place it's retarded to think that you're gonna try to make somebody's brain a child's brain, and then that's the mapping, the validation. Retards. And then they try to make me think, but remember what you did as a kid. It's like, yes, a kid that age, even the big kids, as big as you made it big, that age can do this stupid thing because it's a child mentally, no matter how fat the kid is. And they're trying to create this like, oh, you see that pay. It's like, trash. First of all, you guys are here torturing fucking babies, you fucking low life. It's out here trying to make me think that this experience I'm experiencing today is because you make my brain be my brain when I'm a child. It's retardation. Coming from people who top tier. And so they will try to make me look at this kid and it's like, you see, imagine that kid did this. And because that kid is kind of on the bigger side, it's harder to imagine him to be the full child that he is. Because he's a little bit bigger. It's not like this kid here, where it's easy to just imagine a child like that doing something inappropriate, because you can see clearly how childish he is. It's all about game, of playing your game, playing mental games. And I'm like, you delusional shit. For all the women and children they've been torturing, I will never even let you escape in this fantasy. It was so bad. Target individual, I will never let them live the fantasy. What they do to us, target individual, is horrible, but you gotta be strong. Today, I'm dealing with what you call V2K. V2K is the technology that can alter your mind. This technology changes you as a human being. You no longer think like yourself. You will never be yourself again, because every day for the rest of your life, when you hook to this device, is altered. Mentally, psychology, they attack your body for sure. My organs are being destroyed, my bones are destroyed. I was looking at myself in a mirror and I can't even notice when I walk, my knees look like they're about to pop. And so that's because they're using this weapon system. This weapon system is clear coming not from this fucking retard that you see there, but governmental entities. And they try to confuse you and make you believe that this is anything but this massive government doing that to us. Now let's talk about the things I always bring up. The rewiring of the thought process. It's clear your brain is being rewired. This trash is supposed to gaslight you. So when your brain is being manipulated, they could have this control environment of individuals of all sorts that look at you, oh God, God, you all gonna die. But in truth, they are forcing you to have this experience, and they involve in what you're gonna hear. That's to even babies, infants. And they contract this trash over there. It's like, oh no, you're gonna die for what you did in Africa, when they're here torturing children. The horror of what they do. That's why they deserve more than just death.
And pipe what is into an individual's head. And once you can do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare.
Understand? So as they pipe in those voices, this V2K technology, I'm hearing these childlike retards who's like, now we are this feminist group of protectors of what should clown us. You see what they utilize.
Manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define the probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control the brain? Most people don't believe that. But you can't control me. I have my own freedom.
I know my brain is fully controlled. They force me to have disgusting reaction and perceptions. It's so nasty. And they give me stimulation and sensation. And one thing I will never let them escape from. By the way, I'm hearing trash like that here say, con man, fucking clown. Using this technology that can pipe these voices into your brain. They can make me have these reactions that they designed for me to experience. It's nasty. And the thought process are also disturbing because they then try to make you rationalize the reaction that you're forced to have. This is how they can design these reactions.
Designed to interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG, and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
The desired physical reaction and emotional reaction, they make you have the experiences that they want you to have, whatever way. And they can make you have these perceptions of stimulation, from the little babies to the older kids, forced stimulations and perceptions. For example, this baby here, oh my, they force me to have stimulations. And when I look at this baby, they try to make me think, no, but remember when you were like 13, you felt this way when this Sarah you kissed Sarah on her cheeks, you felt like this. To make me accepting of these nasty things, which is falsified. There's also all the teenage kids here, for example, they try to make me look at this kid in her legs. Try to create like a perception that's sexual. Now, listen, they do that to babies like that. But if I give them this retard, try to make me look at her breast. So it goes to the extreme, to still annoying extreme, but it's not to the same level. Teenager here. Try to make me look at her legs in ways that I would look at like a woman's leg. And they do this manipulation of thought process when they force you to have these experiences, because I'm supposed to think I should rationalize it. No. They just force you to have this perception, this stimulation, this sensation. It's disgusting. And just like this woman says,
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind.
So right now, what's happening to my brain? As I saw the little girl there, she looks like she's a 2-3-year-old, right? They're trying to say, no, but 4-year-old, remember when you're... To try to create a battle in my brain to make me acceptive of these manipulations. I will not have none of this reaction. None. They can look at me mad. And let's say in my brain, altering my brain to experience these things. They are forcing me to have this experience. And this is not unique to me. I will never let this shit go into an escapism and let them think that I will identify with any of this.
I also experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planting.
They're saying they don't do the pedophilia type of torture. Why are they doing my brain? Right? They are mapping my brain to me when I'm at the age of this kid and younger. That when I was a kid, that age, I experienced that, which is falsified. But at the same time, you understand how stupid it is. That do you think I'm going to let you go into that retardation? I'm going to put that in their faces. Now today, because I put the reality in their faces so much that they're forcing me, an adult man, have a reaction toward babies like her. And their validation is, hey, no, what we're doing is just we're making your brain that you have at their age. And because it's so obvious what's the reality, it's clear. You heard this woman say, called the pedophilia type of torture. You're going to hear some more. It frustrates them. And how it frustrates them is today they want to create a torture. So I'm in the elevator, it's like, oh, they're going to cut you, they're going to burn you. I believe all of that, and I have to run to it. Because I think what they think is going to happen is, when I go through these horrible things, they're going to believe, oh, you see, we proved it so much that you're going to be burned and tortured, as if like these governmental entities cannot have you burned, do whatever they want you. Matter of fact, it's so theatrical, it's almost laughable. Not because theatrical as in burning is not something that's going to be painful or horrible. No, it's because what they can do to you is beyond just what they're saying. So you clearly hear this is like a theatric. It's for them to believe, oh, we're so vengeful. Oh, we're so daring. They're going to burn. They're going to do this. The things they actually need to, they deserve, is what they're going to do to you. It's like they're projecting what they deserve. They need to be castrated. They need to be burned. They need all this horrible, because what they're involved in, making people have this reaction to children, and then have this retardation of logic that now we're analyzing. We're mapping your brain, and these retards. You can't even see by who they're contracting that you're going to be on the spectrum. And they all look at you, and I went to the restaurant, right, and they were bringing up this little baby. And it's like, now we map it, because you see, when you're a teenage kid, or like a young teenage, a 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old, actually, they've tried to make me think between 13, when I just turned 13. Now we mapped it. And then they make me think of this bigger kid, who's a little bit on the obese side, just a little, because he looks less childish, because he's kind of big. And like the typical 14-year-old who like usually is small and skinny. To think, oh, you see, we mapped it. No, I didn't experience that when I was a kid. You're falsifying my childhood memory. I'm not a child. And what I did as a kid was an impulsive act of a kid in 8th grade, like you saw there. This stimulation that I'm forced to experience every time I look at babies is because they are controlling my brain this way, and they won't all explain to me. No, I'm going to humiliate you. Target individual, these perps want you to accept this manipulation. But when you put the reality in their faces, when you make it too obvious, I want to see them try to play. When you put the reality of this level, I can't find the specific video, but maybe that gonna, let me see if I can, but
they use these monarch style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you, they're gonna use your libido to get back at you, and
so they're using my libido when it's forcing me to have this sexual stimulation toward this kid. And then you hear them say, oh, torture. It's like, okay, let's go get torture. But you've been manipulating people to have a reaction to kids, you fucking shits. This trash working for pedophiles. So I'd rather get tortured. And this is the things they do.
Innocent citizens being controlled by government-sanctioned experiments. Is Cheryl Welch telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Begich.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is the greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Begich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction. The ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behaviors of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems and being able to not just to debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
But how?
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based in Alaska, radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Becker says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response, the brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain, and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just be about triggering emotions. You could change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Can we hear sounds?
Clearly here, that's making you experience emotions, reaction that they want you to, is old stuff. Now the thought process, thought manipulation is what is becoming more sophisticated. As these men talk about the more sinister ends, they were making me think of, oh, use her hands. And then try to make me imagine me as a kid doing whatever I did to myself. And then try to exaggerate it with using her hand, to try to counter the fact that it's clear that they're manipulating the brain to make you have the emotions that they want you to have, the reactions that they want you to have. Because apparently, according to this, they are locking in your brain signal to this device. That then, once you're hooked to this, whatever the device wants you to experience, you will experience it. Stimulation, they will make you experience that. Thought process, they make anything. And this is what's happening to me. And then they have these clowns that are supposed to gaslight you. They come in all shape and form, right? Not just like childish like that. They're supposed to look at you when this grandmother's looking at you, you're bad. When you're gonna hear who's paid those. And so for me, they force me to have this reaction, stimulations, and like now what we're doing is we're making your brain be the brain of a child that age. And they even bring these children that are a little bigger just because it makes them less children-like. When in reality, they are forcing me to have this reaction, to have these stimulations, which they've done to others. It's nasty. And this is something they've done to others.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind. But he thought of it. Like this disgusting thing. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting thing that I didn't want to talk about because it makes me...
The disgusting word is the pedophilia things they do to people. This is systematic. When I see this grandmother talk, I know this shit is involved in this.
This is a breakdown tactic of belief systems in the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
They make you have this reaction for me toward these little girls. And it's like, girls. You understand the level of gaslighting? They literally make you experience stimulations, sensation toward these babies. And our little babies, our girls. Now we mapped it to you as a kid. This shit are clearly working for governmental entities. Not only they are forcing you to experience whatever you're forced to experience, then they want you to identify with this manipulation that they work day in and day out to make sure they ensure that you experience. Then try to gaslight you into it. This shit wanted to live a fantasy where I was not going to see them for the low life that they are, but I was supposed to not see that this is obviously a massive government doing that to men, women, and children. By the way, they call it, we're mapping. No, they are altering the brain for you to experience something that you will not experience unless they're in your brain. Then when they manipulate your brain, they try to make you have a logical, rational ways to think about these manipulations. And they use these clowns.
Skip into creating Manchurian candidates, and information couriers, people that will carry the V2K. So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
That's why they have these clowns around you. Like her and so many others. And even the grandmother, to make me think, this is not this massive government that have a lot of fucking pedophilia issues. That's magic. What I love about this whole thing is the humiliating reality. Because it's certified that these people are working for governmental entities with issue with pedophilia. That level, I love to put that in their faces every day.
It has come under investigation for links to the proliferation of graphic material. Called Project Flickr, some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD-affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swan. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security suites. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to...
It's clear the Department of Defense is behind this technological weapon. And it is magical to know that these clowns are actually working for governmental entities where their pedophilia issue is so obvious, it's so certified, that it's so well, they are here saying, now what we're doing, we're mapping your brain when you were a kid, at this stupidity, while they're actually working for governmental entities where it's so fucking pedophilia centric that they download so much child porn using the computer given to them by the government. As they hear, no, what we're doing, we in your brain, and we saw that this experience was experienced when you were like 13, that you experienced that when you were 8 years old, that when you... As they work for pedos. This is why the theatric torture is going to be so bad. Because these people work for governmental entities with so much pedophilia. This is even further back.
It is secrets, potentially making this... The Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them at high levels, across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
The Defense Advanced Research Project Agency is, by the way, this agency.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day.
These agencies are top-tier child porn traffickers. And they are here forcing people to have these reactions and then try to gaslight you or gaslight you using these clowns and that come in all shape or form to try to break you down into accepting this. This is the reality.
University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century.
And we're just test subject to it. The clowns around you are supposed to make you believe this false reality, make you believe this altered way your brain is functioning. It's as if it's you naturally, organically. As if they are here protecting the community when the truth is they're discussing trash involving something that's so evil. That even children are being tortured for it, to develop this weapon system. And you're supposed to be like, oh, now what we're doing, we're mapping. No, the brain is not changed, and then I know what you guys are doing. These people are trying to push you into insanity, and I put that into their mind. I will never look at myself the way you want me to look at myself. I will never identify with the force where I'm experiencing this reaction to these babies. Let me put that again. I'm going to experience this, but I will never identify with this when I see these kids like that. It's not me when I was a kid. I'm a grown adult, and I know you're making me experience that to disturb me. And I know that trash around me are going to try to make me accepting of that. In regard of me as a kid or the act of a child, I will never let them go into this escapism when every day I'm listening to this poor woman talk about what she goes through. This is a woman who, when she was a child, was abused by her father and others, raped.
Hey, I just woke up after a pretty rough night. The same thing happened last night as the night before, which was whenever I was trying to go to sleep, the private parts of my body began being burned again. And I asked him what he was doing there, and it's excruciatingly painful to do. I tried to go to a doctor. The abuse last night was pretty extreme. Targeted it's a lot of strange things. I've been doing some research, I guess what it's called, organized stalking. I'm called a targeted individual. But the abuse last night was pretty extreme. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. Kind of just feeling some pretty general fear about my own safety. Because the government's burning the private parts of my body.
This woman is a target individual. There's a lot of women like her. There's even children being tortured the same fashion. So this trash are wanting me to let them go into the escapism where, I act little girls. They torture little girls. They harm them sexually. And they work for governmental entities clearly with pedophilia issues. And they're like, no, we proved it because your brain when you're a kid, when I'm validated that these people are not only just pedophilia centric, but they are the top tier child porn trafficker using government computers. and validate that they do that to others, forcing people to have reaction to kids, and using these childlike retards to try to gaslight you. This is what this woman says.
Like, I'm told that, like, even presidents get prosecuted if they commit crimes. The reality is, my government is protecting my abusers and even caused them to abuse me. And that since I was a child, when I was a child.
You understand? When she was a child, and the reason why you see a picture over there of me or somebody who's in 8th grade is trying to create this retardation. These people are involved in a program that torture women that when they were kids were abused sexually by their father. This is her last video.
And I got this really intense pain here, and then now I like breathe through my nose, and all of this while the private parts of my body are being bruised.
I will never identify with the manipulations that they force my brain to have. I know who I am. I'm old enough to understand who I am as they try to counter this with whatever stupidity. I know who I am, what will make me have reactions, what will give me stimulation. This adorable baby will never give me any of this reaction. But now, because they're in my brain, they will alter my brain in these disgusting ways. Matter of fact, as I say, old enough, they start to make me think, oh, but remember the joke that you heard in high school, to try to make me acceptive of this manipulation today. I will never let this low life live their fantasy. And they talk about, oh no, what you did as a kid was They are literally torturing women that are trying to go to court to take their abusers in court. Because when they were kids, they were sexually abused, they were raped. And today this woman get her genitals burnt because she's a test subject. Target individuals stay strong and see this low life for what they are.